You're recording. Your name?
Darnell Cole.
And my name is Theresa.
Thank you for being present for my second speech. The speech that I'm giving today is on employment laws that could save your job. This is kind of take two. I had some technical difficulties with the first speech, so I hope that you accept this in place of that. Did you know that 1 in every 3 Americans has been arrested at least once? So if you take account of the people in this room, such as 3 people, that means at least one of us has an arrest record. An arrest record of any sort can affect your ability to find and keep a job. And in Florida, the statutes currently support companies performing background checks for situations such as you might work in a factory and one person may have a history on their background of extensive drug usage, and then another employee may become injured and they find fault that the employee who has a history of drug usage was the cause of that injury, but the company didn't do their due diligence as far as maybe performing regular drug tests on the individual. So that's why they support the companies doing these type of background checks so that they can learn the individuals and provide a safe environment for everybody that works there. As a disclosure, I want to state that I am not an attorney. However, my expertise about the subject matter comes through research and first and secondhand experiences. A couple terms that I'd like to discuss so that we can flow through this rather quickly. Arrest. Everybody knows what an arrest is?
Yes.
Can you tell me what an arrest is on?
Arrest is when you're apprehended by the police.
Okay. And then what would constitute an arrest record, Dad?
If you've been arrested.
Right, so that once you're arrested, then that constitutes your arrest record. Other terms that might come up are misdemeanor and felony. Misdemeanors just being lesser severe crimes, and felonies being more serious crimes. More terms that we will discuss are sealed records versus expunged records. And then some states offer such restitution as a certificate of relief from disabilities and certificate of good standing. So let's talk about scenario 1. Let me give you a scenario. So say you were arrested and charged with a felony that you did not commit. You were released from jail either by bond or your own recognizance, and you're still fighting your case. This experience made you realize how important it is to have a job. As you're filling out an application, you encounter the following questions. How would you proceed? So the question is, have you ever been convicted of a felony? How would you proceed?
With that particular scenario, I would probably say convicted.
Convicted.
I'd say no.
Okay. And that's in the case you'd be right, because you're still fighting your case, you haven't been convicted of a felony. So it's most important, what I found in applying for jobs, to be truthful. So then you might run into this question also based on the same scenario. Do you have an arrest record? What would you state at that point?
Would have to say yes.
Which would be the truth. Along with what I would do in that situation to kind of improve my chances of finding employment, because I might add a disclaimer is, yes, I have been arrested, however, I'm still fighting my case, however, I'm not guilty, or something to let them know that, you are being forthcoming with the information, and then being truthful, but then, there's also some details that they need to know about, and that they can use it to your benefit to possibly become employed.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's alter the situation. We'll use the same scenario, but further down the timeline. So all the previous things have happened. However, after months of court proceedings, you've exhausted your savings in fighting your case, and the DA presents you with an agreement that enables you to put the situation behind you by pleading guilty to a lesser charge. It doesn't require you to do any more jail time, agrees to seal your record with the possibility of expungement after 2 years of good conduct. In desperation, you accept. You have no more money to pay for an attorney. So now, how do you proceed when encountering the following questions? Do you have a felony record?
I'd have to say yes again.
That would be the truth. What about you? Would you have a different response?
No, yes.
Okay. One of the things that allows you, now yes would be the truthful answer, and that's what I said. You do want to be truthful in answering these questions. However, knowing the law will allow you to possibly state your answer a little bit differently. So if your case has been sealed, sealing your record allows you to, it may still appear in a background check. It may appear, employers may still see it. However, they're not supposed to ask you about it. So you being knowledgeable about that will allow you to put you in a situation where they don't terminate your employment, but actually act accordingly to the laws. Another question that came up on the previous presentation was, can an employer ask you if you've ever been arrested? In the state of Florida, they can't. But what they can ask you is, tell me about yourself, or tell me about type of situations that you have. But they're not supposed to ask if you've ever been arrested, because they cannot use that information to determine if they're going to hire you or not. So lastly, after obtaining employment, you're presented with a notice of adverse action because a sealed conviction was reported on your background report obtained by your employee. Do you have any recourse?
If it's sealed,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Right. You do have recourse. Basically,
Right.
the same thing I just stated. You would kind of be confident about the situation you're going through, and knowing your rights will allow you to better have that conversation, let's say, with the man, and maybe defend yourself so that you can possibly save your employment. So the reason why I wanted to touch on this topic is because I know that law is sometimes difficult for us to understand, and as a culture, we shy away from things that are difficult. So I wanted to express the importance that I found in learning employment law, because it deals with almost everybody. If it doesn't deal with us directly, it does deal with a family member, down the line. So I hope that you guys have learned something, and I appreciate you guys for sitting through my speech. Thank you.
And I like to say that you did an excellent job the first time, and you had a lot of interaction between you and the audience. And I apologize for messing up your taping.
Thank you, Mom.
All right.